listen to the show and peep what these dudes bring. If you didn't know, it's an orange and blue thing. Hope to win the championship in a few rings.
We're talking baseball.
It's an orange and blue thing. Walk off if the game's tied like shoestrings. It's a Mets podcast, orange and blue thing. Beat the other team with defense in a few swings. LFGM, it's an orange and blue thing.
What's up, Mets fans? Have you noticed I say that every week? It's not even.
Yes, I was literally just thinking that last night, and I was just going to say, "Wow, you got fancy with it today."
It's not even on purpose, but I don't know. Even when I'm doing like the live stuff on Instagram, like a random stuff, I'm like, "Hey, what's up, Mets fans?"
It's like your pleasant good evening.
It is pleasant good evening. Shout out to Mr. Gary Cohen. Anyway.
Press the button.
Oh, the button. Yeah, we'll get to the button later. I do have some extra buttons here. I actually programmed a couple new ones this week.
I'm terrified.
We'll debut them a little bit later.
Cool.
I do have a plethora of things on my desk here. Shout out to Dugout Mugs, Coors Light. We got the new coffee mug on display here that's going to be dropping soon from the 7 Line. If you're watching afterwards or listening afterwards, I should say, you can't see it, but it is a Home Run Apple coffee mug.
It's beautiful.
I debuted it on Instagram maybe like a month ago, and I've been getting a lot of emails from people saying, "Hey, are you making those?"
Mm-hmm.
And I said, obviously, it's called a teaser, just sipping out of it on purpose to get the juices flowing out there on the Instagram world or whatever you want to call it. So this is the 3rd episode of our 5th season. And I just noticed when listening to the intro song, it says, listen to these dudes or something. Shout out to Zeps.
That could be a dude.
We might have to change the intro song. So Zeps,
no,
we love you.
I'll be a dude. It's cool.
You're not a dude. You are not a dude. But speaking of dudes, the dudes are going to be playing real life baseball in 17 nights from now. Opening night in DC is coming up very, very soon. April 1st is right around the corner. Are we going to be at opening day? Are we not going to be at opening day?
What week of this show do you think will have the answer?
I don't know. You know what? Last week I thought that we would know this week.
Yeah.
Remember when we signed off last week?
Mm-hmm.
Again, happy Monday to people. we do start the week off right here. We're trying to chit chat about Met stuff. Maybe we'll talk about the Grammys or Julia's excellent pants she's wearing today.
Thank you, Katie Daza.
But yeah, I don't know. I thought maybe this week. And, the week is still young. So I'm hoping that people can kind of plan their lives over the next few weeks and find out what's going on,
Yeah, I don't know. They're just, I feel like the longer they wait, the messier they're making it for themselves. But
well, speaking of messy, I mean, the government right now in New York, as you chuckle a little bit, like
talk about a mess.
Cuomo's got his hands full with what he's going through right now. So I don't know if it's his say or his team or whoever he works with on what's going on with capacity and restrictions in the state. I have no idea. But like when the New Jersey governor came, like he made the announcement on the fan with Moose and Maggie.
Right.
Is Cuomo going to make the announcement on the capacity?
That's a good point.
I don't know.
But
when? You have to know. I have no idea.
I don't know what's going on with that man right now.
Well, did you figure out what's going on with work for the 8th?
Well, I honestly just feel like the 8th, no matter what, I will probably just take off and tell them. It's the only reason you asked.
That is one of the reasons I asked. But yeah, if you don't know, Julia owns a dog walking business, and we talked about it on the show. Who's going to walk these dogs?
So, I actually just started. I took over. I had a fellow dog walker in the same service area as me who she needed to kind of give up her business. She's a bit older than me. It needs to have like a leg surgery or something, and that ended her dog walking career. So I kind of took over her clients, but she's been injured for a while and was just kind of like letting them out in the yard. So I thought maybe I'll reach out to her, see if just for that day she'd want to go see her old dogs, just let them out. Maybe not go for a walk. I don't know. I'll see. But I never like working opening day.
Did
I never
we talk
work
about
opening
this?
day.
Do you wear like a step counter, or like do you know how many steps you walk with these dogs a day?
My phone,
it's gotta be a lot.
I have an app on my phone that told me I walk 73 miles over the course of a month. Something like that. Which
I feel like it should be more than that.
I know. And I feel like that's definitely not right, because there are days where I walk easily 5 miles a day. Most days.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, we talked about that before we went live, but the weather's it's chilly today, but it's been so nice the last few days. I finally got to go back to the track a lot, and I put in like 70 miles this week at the track.
Insane.
And was burning like over 3,000 calories on average a day, which is pretty cool.
That's crazy.
It's great.
So you can eat anything you want and not feel bad about it.
Yeah, I mean, we eat pretty clean anyway, but whatever.
You make me feel bad about myself.
Don't feel bad. So anyway, the Grammys were last night, and
yes,
I know
they were.
Taylor Swift, did she win anything?
She won Album of the Year. Thank you very much.
Really?
The only woman in history to win it 3 times.
And you are wearing these fancy David Wright.
I am.
Taylor
I don't even
Swift.
know how to show these. Is there even?
You can kind of see it underneath the table there. You see like her. Yes.
Okay.
So
my friend for Christmas, my 2 favorite people obviously are David Wright and Taylor Swift. So she made me David Wright. And Taylor
Those are
Swift
phenomenal. We need to get some like Taylor Swift like sound drops here for the board.
Please do. She's a perfect person for that kind of thing.
So listen, guys, as we do each week, we give away some free stuff as a thank you for sharing the show. If you're listening afterwards as a podcast, you can still get involved. All you got to do is go to either Facebook or Twitter where we stream the show and click the share button. There's a share button on Facebook and there is a retweet button on Twitter.
Post it on your wall.
And just post it and share the show. And that's how you're in the running. And each week we pick out some winners. And we will get to that in a second. But we do want to know where you're watching from because we do have a couple hundred people here checking in from all across the board. We are streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and Periscope. And I think Periscope is going to be no more pretty soon where it just you stream straight to Twitter. I don't know.
Okay.
But Periscope is owned by Twitter. But when I log into Periscope, it says
Periscope confuses
that
me.
It's like not going to be around much longer. I don't know. But let us know where you're watching from. We got some people in the chat here. KT Kelly 172 watching on Periscope from Seattle.
Ooh.
We got this is not the real Daryl Strawberry, I doubt, but Daryl Straw _ in Farquhar, Varina, North Carolina, if I'm saying that right. Nathan in Mexico.
Wow.
Warren in Boynton Beach, Florida. We got Hunter in Ocean County. Kevin, speaking of miles, Kevin has. Do you know Kevin?
Which Kevin? I know several.
If
Kevins.
you see a picture of him, you'll know who he is.
Okay. I can't see. The screen's too small for me.
I got to get you one over there as well. But Kevin has been rolling with the 7-Eleven Army on the road games for a long time. He's an usher at the Anaheim Angels Stadium, but he's a big Mets fan.
Oh, that's awesome.
So like he low key wears like Mets stuff underneath his uniform and
yeah.
stuff. But when the quarantine hit, I'm not sure if this was planned or because of the quarantine or because of the state of the world, but he got a bicycle and he rides a ridiculous amount of miles like per day. He'll go on rides all around LA. My audio is sounding like shit. Can you hear that? Hopefully,
I think you're good.
Hopefully it's just my ears.
Okay. I think it's fine.
And he dropped like 40 pounds or something like that just from riding a bike. Like that's what he does. Rides a bike. Now he's been playing golf and stuff. He tags us in everything. So I like follow his life on Instagram.
I love it.
It's great. So shout out to Kevin.
Go Kevin.
Yeah, absolutely. Kevin's been killing it.
I gotta get a bike.
Get a bike.
Actually, I have a bike.
Get a dirt bike. Go to the track.
No, I have like one of those like cruiser bikes.
That's
with
cool.
Like a basket.
Yeah, like a
and I
beach
put my
cruiser.
dog in it and I ride around.
But see, you live on a hill.
I know. That's why I can never even ride it because it's like I've never really got used to riding a cruiser bike. It's just such a different with the wide handles. It's such a different like
no
balance.
gears. It's a little rough. There's no handbrakes either, right?
No.
So yeah,
it's so scary. And I always have my dog in the basket, so I go like so slow so it doesn't fall out. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a beach cruiser is not made for hills. I mean, what kind of car do you have?
Volkswagen Tiguan.
Would that fit in the back?
No, I've tried. It does not fit.
Okay, so whatever.
Yeah.
Get a bike rack and bring it down to Long Beach or something. Get some miles in. Maybe there's probably a track over near Stony Brook or something. You can go do some circles.
Sure. I'll figure it out. I'll look around. I'll look into this.
All right, guys. So definitely get involved in sharing the show. We do have a guest today. Deesha from the Daily News is going to be joining us in a little bit down from Port Saint Lucie. I'm looking at the clock here, and it's wrong because of daylight savings. Never changed that. But I love daylight savings.
Okay.
Some places don't participate.
You like time changes in general, or like you like this specific time?
I like this one because I'm so depressed in the winter.
I know, same.
It gets dark in November at like 4:00.
Yeah, I used to dislike it when I was in school because losing that hour and like you have to wake up at 6 a.m. anyway is just miserable.
Yeah.
For a while I was okay with it, but now these days I've been getting up at 6 a.m. again, so I'm kind of like I don't really know how I feel about it.
Yeah, this morning was the first time. Well, I'm sure it's happened before, but one of the first times that in Amelia's life, I had to like wake her up.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, come on, get up. She's like, no, I want to go back to sleep. Like she wasn't having it. I was opening up her blind. She was pissed off at me.
Yeah, I feel so bad for parents of babies with that. I feel like that's just a nightmare. I know it's my intermittent fasting. I shouldn't be. I was starving last night, like, because it was like an hour.
Is it 16 hours again? 18 hours?
18. Yeah. And I like, for whatever reason, I didn't eat until like 1 p.m. yesterday because in my mind it was 12. But then I stopped at actual 6 p.m., which in my mind felt like I'm all messed up. I got to figure it out. I get what it's like to be a baby now.
So let's give a quick little shout out here to our friends. Damn, I don't even have it hooked up here. I totally screwed it up.
What, your button?
No, you know what? I screwed up here. Hold on one second before I give shout outs to anybody. Hold on a second. Because this is something cool that we wanted to highlight because
I just told you this.
You just told me about this and I didn't have it ready on the screen. So let's talk about this for a second. So Stroman.
Yes, let's get back to baseball.
Oh yeah, hold on a minute.
There we go. Back on track.
It is Orange and Blue thing. We do talk about the Grammys or Julia's pants or fasting or bicycle riding or burning calories, but this is actually a Mets show for the most part. So shout out to our friends from Dugout Mugs who the other day on Twitter, they posted this. Let me make it a little bit bigger so you guys could see it. They posted these custom mugs, which you can obviously go to their site and pick up on your own as well. Not these because they custom made it for Stroman, but they made the height doesn't measure heart and the Shugo logo for Stroman's new cleat company and posted it, which is a great way to get attention from like an athlete because they said, hey, where can we admire you? Where can we mail these?
Awesome.
And Stroman retweeted it and say, these are amazing. Can I purchase them? So that's pretty sick.
Yeah.
Like to get, basically that's a straight up endorsement.
I know, it was awesome. And I'm pretty sure they responded and said like, you can pay us in the form of like your best wine recommendation or whatever. So Dugout Mugs is awesome. We love them.
Absolutely.
And that was genius marketing. Absolutely.
Oh, for sure. For sure. So if you guys want to get involved, head on over to dugoutmugs.com/7line. This is their third week that they're running this promo and they're giving so many of these freaking things away. Yeah. I don't know how they're not broke by now, but
awesome.
Dugoutmugs.com. You can get a free knob shot. Dugoutmugs.com/7line and get a free knob shot. So they basically take a baseball bat, cut off the top, and they make the bat mugs out of it or the wine ones. And then the bottom, so they don't waste, they turn it into a shot. So it is the knob shot. If you are a Mets fan, you can obviously select that option on their site. Or if you want to purchase these as a gift, I know Father's Day, Mother's Day is coming up, in May, and I think Father's Day is in June, but head on over to their website, pick them up, get them for free. And they're always running promos. Like I'm even looking at it right now. Baseball's back. Use the code SPRING30, 30% off any MLB product. They'll hook you guys up. Great company, big friends of the brand. They've been involved with us for a couple of years now. We make some custom stuff with them as well. Like we did the 7-Line Army mugs. And did you see what I posted yesterday? They made us
post a lot of things.
I do post a lot of things, but before I get off track, go to dugoutmugs.com, check them out. Bat mugs, wine mugs, the season opener, which is great. They have like the bottle opener on the top of the bottom of the mug, the knob shots and custom engraving and so on and so forth. So great stuff. But yesterday I posted, we had the order in last year, basically today when everything got shut down. Actually, yesterday was the anniversary of when I posted them originally. It was a bat mug with the Mets Skyline logo and the 7-Line Army underneath it. And on the back, it had all of our dates for the outings last year. It looked really cool.
Oh, that's sick.
So we won't do it this year because who knows about outings and what's definitive or not.
But that would be cool to have one each season.
Awesome.
That's so cool.
We do have some stuff coming up soon, which you just jogged my memory, but we'll talk about it later. Let's get to our second guest of the season. If you want to do a little intro here.
Yeah, sure. So as we said last week, it's Women's History Month. So we kind of want to each week acknowledge a woman either in Mets history or currently in the organization who does a really kick-ass job as a woman representing the Mets. So today we have somebody who is particularly an integral part of our experience as fans. She has not only been the Mets beat reporter for the New York Daily News since February 2019, but for every season she's been here, she has been the only woman on the beat. So prior to that, she was a reporter for MLB.com and graduated from Penn State University. And not only has she consistently provided fans with really, like, of all the beat writers, really reliable and honest reporting on a day-to-day basis on, Mets activity. But she's also, as of late, been a very strong and important voice in this conversation we've been having about women in the baseball industry. So coming to us live from Port Saint Lucie, Deesha, hello, welcome.
Hi guys.
Oh, we got the button. I don't know if you heard about Darren's buttons over there, but he's got a lot of sound effects that may just pop up.
I love it.
But thank you for joining us. So as
on your day off.
I know, on your day off. It's so kind of you.
I'm really not doing anything else in Port Saint Lucie.
I know. We were talking about this last week. There's really not much to do out there aside from watch a Mets game. But so like I said, we're talking about Women's History Month and women in baseball. So kind of just curious how you got your start in the profession. At what point did you realize you wanted to work in baseball?
Oh, I knew I wanted to work in baseball probably since I was 4 or 5.
Wow.
I grew up watching it with my brother and my dad. So that was when I was definitely first introduced to it. And I started asking these questions that they would be annoyed by. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to keep going. I'm obviously good at this. I've always loved writing. I've loved baseball. I played soccer when I was younger. So not the sport that I played softball or anything like that. But once I, went through high school, got to college, there was maybe a brief period of some undecidedness of did I really want to pursue journalism? But that was really maybe just my first few months there, my freshman year. And then I just went full on journalism, did some print work with the Daily Collegian, their newspaper, and then did some broadcast work with the Center County Report, where I was their sports reporter. So thankfully for me, we had an MLB person, basically. His name was Bill Hill. He doesn't work there anymore, but he would frequent the Penn State campus. So he would come basically interview a bunch of people, maybe in their junior year, senior year, and ask, do you want to be part of this industry? So I interviewed twice, finally got in my senior year. I found out around maybe a few months before I graduated, which was a huge relief for me so that I could just focus on knowing what I would do next. And that's kind of how I ended up at the Red Sox as an intern and covered them during Poppy's retirement year. So that was a good introduction.
I was going to say, sure. Perfect year to get your feet wet. That's awesome.
Exactly.
So you said you've always been interested in writing. Are there any writers or baseball writers specifically you admired growing up, or maybe now as a colleague or professional?
Now as a colleague, I definitely admire Lindsay Adler's work. She's a good friend of mine too, but I think she pushes me just to cover the aspects that I also want to have some more freedom and more confidence in my voice covering, which I think worked out in the past few years. But growing up, I've just always worshipped my dad's writing. He's also a writer too. So that was kind of my go-to when I wanted to read more about any work, not really baseball related. I was more just into the consumption of the sport and the game itself. And then once I started into college, it was more of the literary aspect of it and taking that in.
Right. No, that's awesome. I love how your dad has been such a huge influence on you. That's so cool. I feel like that's every person, whatever they end up getting into, their parents, some way or another, they find their way in there. But
exactly.
So you wrote a really incredible piece earlier this year after the whole Jared Porter scandal. You talked about how women in this industry are constantly kind of forced to play a guessing game and kind of questions a man's intentions, no matter how innocent a comment or action may seem. So of course, we want to get your thoughts on the whole Jared Porter, Mickey Callaway, all that kind of stuff. But as a reporter, as a woman in this field, having to play that guessing game, how, I guess, cumbersome does that become when you need to do your job in comparison to your male colleagues doing theirs?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I would say it's probably part of 50% of my job is just, asking a question and then seeing, the reaction as part of that guessing game that I described is more so, is this person coming from the right intentions? Kind of what are their morals, which I think some of my male colleagues don't have to worry about. They can just kind of do their job. But that has definitely for me relaxed a bit after my first couple of years, including my intern year, which was crazy. I just didn't even have the confidence to go up to players and ask questions. Even in Boston, I was one of 2 or 3 women there, and the rest of the women that were there definitely had some years under them. So I was just super shy, and I didn't really even want to engage in any interviews just because for fear of, are they only talking to me because of the way I look, like what's their ulterior motive? And then a couple of years in, I kind of just, started saying, who cares, and did my thing. And now I would say it's probably less. I wouldn't say it's 50% anymore. But it's just a different environment too over Zoom. I think it doesn't really give you the same person-to-person interaction, the same energy that you would get at a locker room or in a clubhouse. So I think it's still, there's a long way to go for women. I'm glad that this is, coming to the surface now, but we're definitely not there yet, and there needs to be more work to be done.
Absolutely. I know. I always say it's like, I feel like everyone is so tired of having this conversation, but we can't stop having it because it's still an issue.
Yep.
Well, I'm surprised Mickey Callaway hasn't been let go yet.
I know. Yeah. That's a whole other thing.
Are you hearing anything on that front?
I mean, all I've heard really is that they're doing the investigation, and it's taking a while because MLB really took their time reaching out to people and starting the investigation. Just from what I've heard, just to be respectful of the women involved in that story and respectful of the process itself. What bothers me about how long they're taking, though, is just that he's employed this whole time and he's still paid. So for the sake of, moving this process along, and just, I don't even really understand why there needs to be investigation beyond, him denying any wrongdoing and the whole California law that comes into play. But I think the Angels have more power than people realize, and they could fire him. I think that there's just fear of retribution, fear of a lawsuit. So when it comes from that kind of mentality, especially from an organization like the Angels, it's not really putting, a good step forward, not a good vision forward for women that might want to come in this industry and do some of the same things that women are still struggling with now.
Yeah.
Well, we both appreciate your work big time. I mean, I talked about it recently, you're welcome. Just having you all back in Florida while there's nothing to do when you're not at the games. I mean, it's a pretty boring place, but we appreciate it so much because we are so connected to the team through your phone, through your eyes, through your voice, and having, you and Giacomo and Mark Levine and Will from the Mets and everyone back down there just covering the team we love has been such a great distraction because everyone's still going through this pandemic, but having you guys and gals down there has been great for us because it feels a little bit more normal. We're a year into this whole thing now with the world essentially stopping a year ago this past week. Mm-hmm. And, having everyone down there doing their jobs has been great for us, just to follow along. So the other day you had this viral video go out, right? It was 1 million views now?
Oh my God.
Honestly, I don't even check, but I know that at a certain point I had to reach out to the Daily News and be like, okay, you guys need to help me with this because I'm getting requests from people to put this on, SI at ESPN, and I'm just like, I can't do it anymore. So I put it in their hands, but yeah, it definitely went viral. It was a lot.
Yeah, I think the first day, I checked it in the afternoon, it was already up to 700,000 views. I'm like, this is pretty wild.
And that's a moment that we never would have known happened.
Exactly.
If the reporters weren't allowed to be down there. So we're so thankful they are.
What's the differences this year compared to the others? Do you have to be kept at a distance? I know some of the photographers I follow, they have to be behind the fences.
Yeah.
I know Mark Levine is up, still doing his thing nice and close, as part of the Mets, the Mets core. But are you kept at a further distance now?
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, the best part of spring training for me was always when I would get to hang out in the dugout while they're doing batting practice. Players kind of come in as they want, as they go, even coaches and staff. Spring training is definitely the best time to make those connections at a just super human to human level where, it's not the line of reporter to player or coach. It's more just person to person. But that has been completely taken away from us. We just have to kind of walk the concourse. We don't go in the clubhouse anymore, obviously. Hopefully that will change either this season or next. But there's fences where you can watch batting practice, and I would always kind of lean against the fence and take videos from there. Now you have to be a foot back from that fence. So it's definitely a lot of regulations even for us. To an extent, I definitely understand it. But hopefully we can, throughout the season, they can consider making adjustments as, fans are allowed back in. Some of our regulations should hopefully be relaxed.
Yeah, I'm so curious how, you guys are basically all limited to the same access. You're talking about those personal connections you're able to make. So how do you kind of keep your reporting unique from everybody else? Is that I imagine it's extremely difficult to write different stories from everybody else. But I mean, you're into it a year now. Have you figured out any tricks or anything like that?
Not really, especially now in spring training. We all have, we all get the same interviews. We all get the same people, like you mentioned. Sometimes I'll actually talk to reporters, be like, okay, you're writing this, good, I'll write the other thing. And that's helping both of us out. So that way, we can get as many views and clicks as we need. But I've noticed even just interaction has been down since I've been in spring training. And that's likely because we're all writing the same thing. And, people gravitate to the writers that they like and things like that. So I think during this season, it will be easier because there's already so much to write and talk about. But hopefully, as the season goes on, storylines come up and we'll go and gravitate and do our own things. But definitely the concept of just walking up to a player in the locker and making your own story and figuring it out has just been completely taken away from us, which is not been great.
Not ideal. Yeah,
exactly.
That makes me a little nervous though, because I think a lot of employers are noticing over the past year how much work can get done without actually going to work. How many people are working remotely, how many things are being changed and shuffled around. The majority of my work can be done from a cell phone, a laptop, wherever I am, but I'm nervous that the teams and the players and whoever involved with the teams might be coming more used to this, where the access might become more limited in the future, where certain things that are changing might just be the normal. And I hope this isn't one of them.
Yeah, I would not like that.
No, it'd be horrible.
That would be awful.
I definitely worried about that in like an existential way pretty often. And just that, what if we're never allowed back in the clubhouse? And kind of just like, as a unit, BBW, we're like, don't even think like that. Like, we're going to get back in there eventually. Obviously, circumstances are what they are. But, until all parties, including, players, MLB itself, and us kind of work toward a solution here of just relaxing regulations, it's going to be tough. So it worries me every day.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have the handle correctly, but I think her Twitter, her Instagram is What I See. It might be Alejandra. You know her? I think she works for Newsday. She's a photographer. But
Alejandra for New.
A lot of her photos have been so creative because they're so far away. But like I'm sure she would love to be up close and personal.
Right.
She's always taken some great shots where like fisheye lens underneath, like someone signing an autograph. There's one of Harvey and she's like under there. You see the fans' hands. But now everything is like through a fence, behind a tree. It almost looks like surveillance footage or something. But I kind of like it, but I'm sure she would rather be up close,
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's talk more about spring training.
Let's get into baseball. Yeah. This is getting depressing at this point. Let's talk baseball.
Luis Guillorme yesterday, obviously the 22 pitch at bat, which was
insane,
unbelievable. And that was actually Hicks's first batter back in like 2 years.
And didn't they take him out like right after that at bat?
Yeah, they had a trainer come out, I guess, to talk to him so they can get him off the mound because you're supposed to do the three batter rule or whatever. But that was unbelievable. And it seems like the epic story of Luis Guillorme in spring training continues to
fascinating.
Grow. Well, in 17, catching the bat, didn't even flinch. And then yesterday, the 22 pitch at bat. Clearly, his glove is excellent. He's always making some kind of great play in the field, and he's been picking it up lately with the bat being more consistent. Do you really think, or do you think that it's going to be more of a battle for that starting third base role than we might think with JD Davis?
I don't think so. I think the organization has been super confident in JD. I mean, every person you talk to just has this very strong belief that he can play third base. And I mean, I agree with them to an extent. I think he definitely needs more reps there, but there are also things year to year that I see the same of from JD, including, when he picks up a grounder, he always takes a few steps if he has time to do it before firing the ball. And it just like aggravates me. But every time I see it, I'm like, okay, maybe he won't do it next time. Maybe he will. But it seems to be one of the things that he can't let go of, which maybe gives more of an opening, to Guillorme if JD continues that throughout the season. But I think definitely starting the season, they have a lot of confidence in JD. And people forget that he is a super smart and super talented player too. So I think the faith in him, he could almost be a sleeper in that way if he returns to the 2019 version of himself when he broke out for the Mets at the plate. So if at some point, his production outweighs his defense, then we might see more of him.
Right. No, and that's good. I mean, it's a good problem to have, as you have two solid people. You got depth there. So speaking of depth, I'm curious of your thoughts on the bullpen. They've lost Lugo for a while. Do you think they did enough this offseason to break camp with? Because I mean, we keep hearing about free agents being signed or whatever, and the Mets keep missing out. Or are they missing out? Or they try? Like, what do you think? How do you think the bullpen, and compared to others of the division, how do they look?
Yeah, I think, if they grabbed Brad Hand, it seemed like they were in it. They were up there with the offer with everyone else, but he just chose to go somewhere else. But I think if they had him in addition to Loop, Trevor May, Lugo, of course, Diaz, then it would be super dominant. Then it would be, we wouldn't even be talking about the bullpen right now. But without Brad Hand, I think they relied heavily on the setup being Lugo and then the closer being Diaz. And Diaz has looked absolutely phenomenal in 2020. And he doesn't even look like, what we saw in 2019. He looks exactly like what we saw last year, which was also really strong. So I think if they only have to go a month without Lugo, then I think Loop and Trevor May are super solid. Miguel Castro is also a kind of sleeper in that sense. And then, we have the two with Betances and Familia. And that's kind of,
wild card.
Yes, exactly. And they've been placed the Mets have been placed in the position too, where they're not even sure what to do with them. Sandy, made a note of like, oh, Jurice is killing me out there. So like he keeps it real, but also I think Jurice is in this position because he is super confident and he tries. I mean, none of these guys are just like rolling over. That could also have been a possibility of, they care and they want to show up for the fans. So especially if it's, it gets to be 50% capacity, something like, I wonder how it would impact, especially Dylan and Betances. Dylan and Familia, just to see how they would perform with that sort of atmosphere. But definitely those two are the ones to keep an eye on. And without them, I think the bullpen is pretty solid, especially if the rest of them return to who they are. And Lugo's injury is super minimal. Then it would be best case scenario.
Say, from Deesha's lips to our ears, everybody calm down. Bullpen's going to be okay. We're fine.
We brought up Aaron Loop, and he instantly endeared himself, at least to me, on his first press conference, talking about he just wants to crush beers. He's like, I'll be an opener. I
forgot about that.
I'll just go in the dugout. I'll go back in the locker room and crush some beers while the rest of the guys close it out for me. So what we're doing a new thing on the show where last year we had some tech issues. We actually only had one guest last year, and it was David Wright.
A good one to have.
Yeah. And last week was Jay Horowitz. So what we're doing is the last guest asks the next guest a question. So David had one for Jay, and now Jay has one for you. So this is from Jay Horowitz. Before you started to work at the Daily News, who was your favorite baseball player? Maybe things change once you do it as a job, but who was your favorite beforehand?
One of my favorite beforehands was always Gerald Strawberry, and this is probably from my days of growing up, but once I kind of transitioned to just writing and covering it, I started to not have favorite players. But Strawberry I always loved for obviously what he did on the field, but for his character and just being kind of put in the spotlight daily and just being backed down by the media for all of his off the field issues, and then continuing to kind of improve himself. And I mean, now he might be sort of a pariah when it comes to his political beliefs and views, but I think if we're talking strictly baseball, I really loved watching him.
So another one from Jay. I asked him for one, but he gave me two.
So did David. So
yeah, David actually gave two as well. He asked Jay who his favorite third baseman of all time was, and he said Hubie Brooks. And he said, "What's your best memory?" I'm assuming like maybe your best memory from a ball game, if you have one.
My best memory from a ball game. Yeah, no, seriously. I mean, it probably is weird because it's hard to find memories that top ones when you're there as a fan. But the one that sticks out to me is Dom's walk-off that happened. I think that was last year at this point. I don't even remember.
It was 2019, I think, because there were definitely fans there.
The final game of the year, 19.
Yes, exactly, yeah. So, and that's right, because he came back from his injury, and even before that, he's like wheeling around in his scooter. So he had like, all this like momentum, and he was a fan favorite. So once he broke out like that for the walk-off, I was like, wow, it gave me goosebumps for sure.
Yeah.
So we are streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, and we can see comments here on the side. Everyone's loving our chat with you, so thanks for coming on.
This is great.
If anyone watching has a question for Deesha, we could pass it along. We'll scroll the comments here. We got a couple more for you, though.
Yeah, I am very curious. Obviously, the biggest move the Mets made this offseason was trading for Francisco Lindor. I am so curious because obviously we can't be down there to see, and I know you're kind of far away. But what role has he kind of taken? Is he kind of, I mean, obviously, blue hair, he's not trying to blend in per se, but is he being more like of a leader or a mentor to younger guys, or is he kind of just, trying to get his feet wet with the other guys on the team, the other veterans on the team?
Yeah, I think, he's been, at least from what I've seen, a leader from day one. He's been in kind of the same batting group as Conforto. So it's always Lindor going first, Conforto batting behind him. And as soon as Lindor, does whatever he does at the plate, he's walking back. He always, like 10 out of 10 times I've seen him, tell Conforto something about the pitcher, tell him what the next pitch is going to be, what he's seeing. And when he's not doing that and he's just, taking grounders at short, or especially, during that drill with the 27 outs before they celebrated, he was just, directing everyone where to go. He's like, okay, 2 outs, we got this. Like, clearly everyone was tired and he was the only one like ramping everyone up.
That's awesome.
So if there was, this like training period for him, or like getting to know people in the organization, I definitely haven't seen it, but that's also been kind of the fallback of not being able to go in the clubhouse, because this would be a perfect year for us with just so many personalities on this team that, and they all, seemingly want to talk to the media. Whereas like, in previous years, it's been a little contentious. So it seems like this would be, we'd be talking to Lindor every day. You guys would be getting stories from Lindor every day. So it's one of those topics that I'm also curious about, just kind of how his journey has been. But when we only get to talk to him like twice in a spring training, it makes it tough. But from what I've seen, he's definitely more on the leader side than just trying to learn or get his feet under him.
That's awesome.
So we got one question here. Actually, we got two. So Luis Rodriguez wants to know if we heard any progress on extending Lindor and Conforto. I'm sure this comes up every single day, but is there anything that's been changed since last week?
Not changed in the last week, other than this is definitely the early part of the negotiations. So from what I've heard, at least they're leaning more on it shouldn't take a long time, and once these things start, they kind of wrap up quickly. So they're hoping that the Mets and Lindor side just reach an agreement, but they're also not super rushing it, and there's no like how the fans view it, like some sort of opening day deadline, which it exists because Lindor wants to focus on the season once it begins, but it's more like okay, we're going to talk to his agent now, we'll shoot this out, we'll shoot this other thing out, and kind of have been taking it day to day. And as far as Conforto, I've heard that nothing has really started yet. At least he doesn't know of it, and from what I've asked around, the focus has been more on Lindor than Conforto. So it could be possible that nothing has even started on the Conforto front.
So speaking of access and Lindor, I know you sent me that Sports Illustrated article, Julia.
Oh, that was awesome.
I didn't get a chance to read the whole thing, but he was talking about shifts and different things that about the game. And we got another question here for you from Greg. Can you actually see that on your screen as well?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So Greg wants to know what you think of some of the new rules being tried out in the minors, specifically the move to modify shifts. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm definitely not of the mindset and the thinking that shifts are ruining baseball. I know that like Lindor was kind of alluding to that. I mean, in that, they need to be gone just like with strikeouts. I think the higher strikeout rate is definitely hurting way more than shifts. Shifts is more of a thing where, I mean, in my eyes, it happens in most sports. It's where you can anticipate where the next play is going to happen. And so you're setting up there. It's almost like what the Yankees are they do this the most, but they'll kind of determine their pitching sequences before they even are in the game. The catcher's not really allowed to, call the game. So if you want to think of the shift like that, it's just going in this new age of baseball, which I think there's not really going to be too much backlash against it when it works out, for the team defending. So I think for fans who might be annoyed with it, for the batter who might be annoyed with it, there has to just, be practice in other ways to get beyond it. Obviously it's not easy. It's easy for me to say that sitting here, but I mean, just even shooting the ball the other way against a shift is so thrilling.
I was just going to say, it's so exciting.
Exactly. Because it's like, oh, wow, they went against it. So I think the shift is not the problem as much as strikeout rates are not only slowing the game down in terms of fan attention and interest. It's more just, not exciting in that way.
Right.
So one more here from a fan. Her name is Gianna. She's a good friend of the show.
We love Gianna.
She's younger. I think
she's like 16. She's awesome.
Aww,
she's so cool.
hi,
she's 16, big Mets fan. And she has a question for you. What is your favorite part of the job?
That's a tough one. But I mean, I know that even on my hardest days, like I don't let them get too stressful or too crazy because I'm just so grateful to be covering the job that I love, the sport that I love. And in a sense that, every single step is just related to baseball. I know this is like pretty sweeping answer, but just the fact that I get to cover baseball is probably my favorite part of the job. And it comes into play, especially when things can get tough, especially like the last few months have. So I have to remind myself that, this is fun. It's supposed to be fun. It's covering baseball. So yeah, that's a broad answer, but it's my favorite part.
Yeah, I had another question before, and I'm glad that Gianna asked that because I feel like it's a perfect segue. But it was really, as a woman working in sports, is there one piece of advice you were given from another woman, or a piece of advice you would give a woman that is up and coming in the industry of anything sports related, baseball, beat writing, whatever? What is either the best piece of advice you've been given or you would give to somebody else?
That's a really good question. And it's come up a lot in the past few months with all of these, harassment scandals popping up, because it's like, I've reached out to my friend groups like, okay, how can we just like support ourselves right now and not quit? Because that's usually, the kind of backdrop of how stressful it gets. So I think one piece of advice I've received and I would give is just truly, and this might sound cliche, but truly to just believe in yourself and stick to what you know, and 100% not care what others think. And that's sometimes really hard to do if you're young and you're just starting out. Then you might not even know yet, who you are as a person, and that's okay too. I think you're learning. So once you kind of figure it out, even as you're figuring it out, don't let anyone else tell you, you can't do this or this is lame, and don't cover that. If you think it's cool, do it. So yeah.
Awesome. That would be my advice. Love that. This was so great. I'm so glad we had Deesha on today.
Deesha, thank you so much for giving us, 20 minutes or so of your time.
Your off day.
We appreciate it.
It's really no problem.
Enjoy the rest of your time down there, a couple more weeks. And then, we look forward to following you. You've been doing phenomenal work, and we look forward to following you all throughout your career. And we appreciate all your work.
Thank you so much, guys.
Absolutely. Have a good one. Thank you.
You too.
Excellent.
That was awesome.
Thanks so much to Deesha. Definitely follow her on all of her social media platforms. Always doing a great job covering the Mets, and that was great.
That was awesome. I'm so glad we did that. That was like one of the first, when we were talking about, women that we could talk about, one of the first ones was like, Deesha, we got to get Deesha on here.
Absolutely. And, reading the comments here, everyone's having a great time in the chat. Awesome interview. Great job from Jen. Awesome interview. So inspiring from Gianna. So Gianna.
I love that. I was literally just thinking, like, I remember when I
told you you're in charge of the youth.
I know. I got to figure out what I'm doing with the youths. You never sent me her email. That's why I never got rolling. It's your fault.
Under the bus.
It's your fault. But I was just thinking, like, as this interview was happening, I wish, and I don't think there was, I wish there was a woman covering the Mets the way Deesha was when I was starting out in journalism, and just like every obstacle I faced, being able to see, okay, well, there's somebody doing it, so you can do it. I don't think I really had that. So that would have been nice. So Gianna, I don't know what your career aspirations are, but I hope if they're at any way in the field of baseball or sports, I hope that was really meaningful for you, because that was awesome. I love that.
So we got to give a special shout out to our friends from Coors Light. Of course. Whenever you want to reset and chill, crack a cold one. Crack a cold one and sit back and enjoy it.
Press reset and chill.
I was actually resetting and chilling on Saturday night watching Supercross. Kelly was supposed to come down. We put Amelia down to sleep, but she's just been so shot lately for whatever reason. She's been tired, so she fell asleep.
Kindergarten's hard.
And I'm sitting there drinking my Coors Lights, watching Supercross, and we're always happy to have Coors Light part of the show.
Well, I Instacarted last night. You can Instacart Coors Light now.
Instacart or Drizly.
Yeah.
Check out Drizly if you go to drizly.com. And you, just like last year when we were promoting the delivery service, you can go to Instacart, which you have an account. Is that how it works?
I do. It's basically like Uber Eats for shopping. So you can, like, I do a lot of my like grocery shopping through Instacart, but now I can get Coors Light through Instacart. So that's game changing.
So if you're not watching live, you want to check out the replay afterwards, just do it on your own. If you're listening, go to drizly.com or Instacart, and you can type in your address. I put 41 Seaver Way here because, of course, we're going to get some beers delivered for the opening day tailgate party if there is one.
Obviously.
So you can select here, like 12 ounce cans, 12 ounce bottles, so on and so forth, 24 ounce cans. You can get the big boys delivered, and then you just actually add it to your cart, just like you would anything else, and get it delivered today. So pretty awesome.
Amazing.
Head on over, check it out. Always remember to celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company in Golden, Colorado. We have so much stuff planned. We had so much stuff planned with Coors Light last year.
I know. I remember you
that got shelved, and we're hoping now in 24 days at the home opener, which we don't even know if we're going to. We have stuff planned with Coors Light. We had stuff planned with Coors Light last year, and if the world didn't close down,
why doesn't the world want us to collaborate with Coors Light?
Well, we are
feeling attacked,
but there's a lot on deck. So definitely shout out to them. Thank you so much for and I want to give a shout out to them too. Because be like, oh, Coors Light is corporate, like. Sure, it's a big brand, but the people involved in the brand who are involved with us are such genuine, down to earth people.
They're just people.
They didn't have to continue their partnership with us last year,
especially when everything shut down. And to gamble on a baseball podcast, getting a lot
Big
of
Apple trivia.
Yeah.
So Coors Light,
we love Coors.
Awesome. Like seriously, thank you so much for being a part of us and the 7 Line Army, and hopefully all those cool things we have planned we could actually do this year at the ballpark, because we need some of this.
Oh, I have to start stretching my
I don't know where the woo came from.
I don't either.
I hated it in the beginning.
I love it. I just think it completes it. I know it wasn't around at the beginning of 2015, because I sent you that video when we were down for spring training, and it was Harvey's first start after Tommy John, and his first battery struck out. Did the strikeout chant, and it's just anytime I need a boost of serotonin. Yeah, but it feels incomplete without the woo.
Really?
It feels like, I don't know, when I watch it, I'm waiting for the woo.
Yeah, I miss it too. I'm just looking at the Shouty commenting. She misses that. Oh yeah, and bingo. We did bingo too, but of course I didn't have anything to do with bingo. But we did a lot of stuff last off season to fill the gaps. But speaking of filling the gaps,
where are you going with this?
That's a weird transition. I don't know. It has actually have nothing to do with filling the gaps. But St. Patrick's Day is in a couple of days. Are you a big do you partake in the parades and
Not
stuff?
at all. I think if I'm any percent Irish, it's 0.2. I've never been to any sort of parade. I wasn't I don't know. I feel I remember all my high school friends, people in high school always would ditch school that day, go to the city for the parade. But
yeah.
I'm not a huge drinker other than Coors Light, and I really wasn't in high school at all. So I never really got into it as people just see it as a drinking holiday, and and again, I guess being no percent Irish has something to do with that.
Are you kidding me? People don't.
Half
the people in the city going to
but that's the thing. It's being
Irish.
Not a big drinker. If I was Irish, I would celebrate. I also hate the food. I hate Irish food.
Like corned beef and cabbage and stuff like that.
Soda bread. Ugh.
Yeah, soda bread's pretty dry. I don't know. I think it's pretty dry.
Yeah.
But I couldn't tell you how many times I went to the city for the parade and didn't see the parade.
Right.
You go and you just go to a bar
right.
and hang out. And especially when I was bartending, everyone at different places.
Yeah.
Because the network, it's crazy. How many bartenders are in the world, but you kind of do get to know each other.
Right.
So they come to your place, you go to their place, whatever. But my liver is very happy that nothing will be going on this Wednesday.
Yeah.
But last year we were supposed to be a part of the Bayport Blue Point Parade, and we paid for our spot to be in the parade. The Long Island Ducks are part of it. A bunch of companies and brands out here do it. So it got canceled, obviously. I bought so much candy, green foiled candy. We were going to throw it out, give out beads. Actually, you know what? They told us we couldn't. You would be
that creep handing candy out of a van.
No, Amelia was going to do it. Kelly was going to be on board.
Okay, that's fine.
Megan was going to, Riley and everyone was going to help out.
It's a little better.
We were actually making these little goodie bags because you couldn't throw stuff out. So we had goodie bags made with beads and stickers and pins. And
that's cute.
But now I had all this candy. Do you want candy?
No, until Andrew and Amanda's wedding, I am being very strict with my diet.
Of candy,
I don't want candy.
And it goes bad eventually. I have all this green candy. I don't know what to do with. I asked Lizzie last week, should we just mail them? Should we put pieces of candy in with
in the boxes
in hat orders? But what if it melts? I don't know.
Oh yeah, then you ruin your own product. Now don't do that.
So we didn't do that. So I saw this tweet a couple days ago, and it said you were wearing jeans, and it was a celebration.
I have not worn jeans. That's why it says jeans. Darren has in our rundown of the show, there's a random section for when we need to just fill in some time, and there's literally just a dash that said jeans with question mark, and I had no idea what that was about.
I was confused by the tweet. I'm why is this a thing?
Because
you're clap. I'm wearing jeans.
I am a dog walker. I don't wear jeans ever. I wear leggings. Think about like what you wear to work every day. This is what I wear to work every day. It's a sweatshirt, leggings, whatever, because I need to be able to, I bend down, pick a poop. I'm not wearing jeans. Dogs are messy, jumping on me, whatever.
That's a good segue too.
Yeah, there we go. But so now that I don't have places to go, the world is shut down. My only opportunity to wear jeans was if someone was inviting me out to go somewhere, because all you can really do is like you have your bubble of friends that you've been seeing the past few months. For me, it's Katie. So I go to Katie's couch. I'm not wearing jeans to sit on Katie's couch, but I went into the city for one of the first times to see my St. John's roommates for the first time in like 3 years. And we just stayed in their apartment. We did like a boozy paint by numbers and it was fun, but I was like, all right, I'm going somewhere other than Katie's house. I'm putting on jeans. And I was proud of myself. They fit a lot better than they did the last time I put them on.
Great.
So yes, everyone should clap. Press the clap button.
Okay, sorry. Clap button. You want, all right, I'll do this one.
Perfect.
So you brought up poop. I am a big,
You brought up poop.
You brought it up. I wasn't gonna even say anything, but you brought it up.
We're now at 0
I'm a
weeks without the fart noise.
for good marketing. Mm-hmm. And I'm on YouTube before actually watching actually typed in Nas Illmatic because last night he won a Grammy.
Yeah.
Nominated 15. It was his 15th time being nominated. He finally won a Grammy.
Wow.
But I was listening to Illmatic, and before it came on, it was an ad for colon cleansing. I don't know why there would be an ad for colon cleansing on Illmatic, which is 27 years old or something like that.
Maybe
came out in
because
94. What year were you born again?
95.
Shit. So it was this album came out a year before you were born.
So maybe it's because the people who listen to it
are
now old.
Oh, thanks. So Illmatic came out in 90.
You set yourself up for that one. You wanted
like the
an
summer
answer.
of 94. I was 13. And it was awesome. Like Hot 97, whatever. So I'm listening to Illmatic this morning and this ad comes up it was called Zoo Poo. And I bought it. But
thank God we had Deesha on the show today, or this would have just been completely off the rails.
Whatever. This is part of the show.
That's amazing.
So the marketing said, I put it in quotes here, it's been said that the average American carries around between 5 to 20 extra pounds of poop in their intestines.
I just want everyone to know that quote is listed directly under jeans, question mark. This is the prep we put into the show.
and Lucho checking in. He hates you for that comment that we're old because we listened to Illmatic.
I saw Lucho posted a status the other day. His son, who is significantly younger than me, he said something like, "Oh, did you have one of those like old TVs from the 90s or something?" Like it was like an ancient concept,
that
something from
flat.
Yeah, something from the 90s. And he was like, "This kid needs to stop talking."
Shoemaker's dad had like the very first flat screen that I can remember, but it was like the box. It was like 400 or 500 pounds.
Yeah.
You couldn't move this freaking thing. It was huge, but it was so heavy.
Black.
Anyway, so I bought it. I bought Zoo Poo. It's a
I was not expecting it to take that turn.
My stomach hurts. I'm laughing so hard.
So what you're saying is it was perfect marketing.
It was great.
People your age, they knew you would need it.
Listen, I'm 40 now. I got to make sure my colon's clean.
So that's great marketing.
It's a 15-day. They should be paying us for this. It's a 15-day cleanse. But it says like in the reviews, it says like, make sure you're not too far from a bathroom because like you really get the cleanse. Not to be too like gross here, but like it says it does great stuff. So it should be here by next week.
Next week or the week after, whenever you've given it some time, we'll do a full review.
But I'm just nervous that I'll have to like get up during a show.
Oh God,
that would be bad.
Don't leave me to my own devices. I don't know
Did
what
we
to do
do
with
that?
my
We didn't do the share contest. All right, cool. So before we get out of here, talking about poop and
share the show, by the way.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and share the show.
Post it on your wall. Post it on your wall.
Lizzie says she can't wait for the poop stories.
Snap it to the chat.
So listen, share the show. That's how you get involved in the free stuff. Each week we give away. Remember last week, like, should we do a gift card or whatever? We did gift cards last week, so you can go on the site, buy whatever you want. So last week's winners from season 5, episode 2, sharing on Twitter. It is Keith Mayer, who is at Coyote. I wrote the wrong one.
I was going to say
that was last week.
Yeah.
Is Keith Mayer at Coyote19. And on Facebook, it is Mike Falzarano. So Mike and Keith, you will be getting some free gift cards to go shop on the 7 Lions website. Pick up whatever you want. And we will mail it out to you as soon as possible. I think we covered almost everything on the sheet here. But
except dodging bullets.
Dodging bullets. Yeah, we should end
Like
with
the
dodging
one
bullets.
really big Mets part of the show. We spent 10 minutes talking about poop.
So before we go, because this is a little bit on the longer side. It's not long. It's
We'll do the
about a
Cliff
minute or
Notes
so.
version.
No, I have a video here. I have a brand new song from Ricky Diffendale.
Oh!
So Tim, who has been on fire with the blog lately, we have like 6 or 7 bloggers.
Yeah.
And I don't want to throw anyone under the bus, but like we pay bloggers.
Yeah.
A lot of blogs don't pay, I heard.
Right.
We pay. It's not much, but it pays. It adds up. When things happen, I would think like, oh, Luis Guillorme, 22 pitch at bat. I'm going to write a story on that.
Yeah.
Tim, who's like kind of in charge of the blog now, was the only one who wrote a story.
Yeah.
I get it. It's Sunday, whatever.
Right.
But he reached out to Ricky like, hey, Mets have been dodging bullets a lot lately. Got a song? And in a day, he's got the song written.
Awesome, this guy.
Here it is. The premiere of, I think it's called Dodging Bullets.
And I'm not going to be able to hear it.
Yeah, you will. I fixed that.
Awesome.
Saved our bacon. I could already hear the jokes that they be making. Thank goodness we dodged the bullet from J-Lo and A-Rod. They'd be saying same old Mets, of course. They weren't even married, but it feels like divorce. Oh, thank goodness we dodged the bullet from J-Lo and A-Rod. It's okay, Met fans. They can't hurt us cause their ownership team couldn't make the purchase. Thank goodness we dodged the bullet from J-Lo and A-Rod. We dodged the bullet by a centimeter. Who wants to be owned by a no-good cheater? Oh, thank goodness we dodged the bullet from J-Lo and A-Rod. And when it comes to signing Bauer, I'll admit I was hoping, but now he's in LA pitching with one eye open. That guy would have been such a pain. So thank goodness we dodged the bullet from signing Trevor Bauer. Yeah, thank goodness we dodged the bullet of Bauer, J-Lo, and A-Rod.
Wow. That was amazing.
Excellent, right?
So
Such
good.
talent. I sent you the other video that we're putting out on St. Patrick's Day.
I
Let's
know.
not tease it too much.
I know. But that was insane.
Again, hit up Ricky. Hey, you got anything on this? And bang, St. Patrick's Day song coming out in 2 days.
That's awesome. He literally, when we mentioned it on, I think the first show about like, oh, I need a theme song for Big Apple Trivia. He must be like, what do you need? I was like, I don't know if we're definitely doing it, but if we do, you're the first person I'm
and
telling.
I bet you will have it by lunch.
I know.
Like,
he's awesome.
If you weren't watching and listening afterwards, he did that again wearing a shirt and tie because he's a teacher and he's been doing a lot of remote stuff. I don't know if
his
he's going
students must
in
love
yet.
him. He's
Oh
so
my God.
cool.
He's probably the man.
Yeah.
You know, so shout out to Ricky. He's been excellent over the past month or so. He's been blogging and also doing these videos and so on and so forth with the songs. It's great. So definitely get involved if you want to get some free stuff next week. Still time.
Post it on your wall.
If listening afterwards, just go back, watch the replay. Very simple. And share the show. Get involved. Again, shout out to Dugout Mugs. Go to dugoutmugs.com/7line, the number 7 LINE. Get a free knob shot. Go pick up your Coors Light from both Instacart and Drizly. And we hope that we are at Citi Field in 24 days.
I hope by next week we can tell you if we're going to be.
Plus, there's a huge Mets contingent. There they are.
All right. So we will see you guys next week. Have a great week. We miss you. We love you. Hopefully the Mets.
Happy St. Patty's Day.
Happy early St. Patty's Day, even though Julia never
really
wants
care.
to partake in it. But I hope by next week we have some kind of answers on what we can
Fingers crossed.
plan for on April 8th. So that's it. See you next week.
Bye.
That's another orange and blue thing.
Put it in the box. Put it in the box.
I can't.
Have a good week, guys.
Bye.